The Joplin School Board gets into a debate over the Missouri Attorney General's letter about COVID mandates and how that applies to local school districts. I'm Chris Warner. I'll have that story.
Efforts to recover from devastating tornadoes are hampered by bad weather. I'm Mike Tobin in Mayfield, Kentucky. Details coming up.
And a pair of local standout sisters enjoy their one and only season on the same basketball team.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. The Joplin School Board debates the district's COVID plan following a letter from Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt. KOIM's Chris Warner spoke with the superintendent and board president about the issues they're facing.
Every 6 months, school districts are required to review and approve their COVID plans. Tuesday night, that's what Joplin almost didn't do. Revisions were proposed and voted down. New revisions were proposed and voted down again. Superintendent Dr. Melinda Moss weighs in on what happened.
What happened between the community input session and the board meeting was the much publicized letter from the Attorney General, which generalized the Cole County decision that said unelected health officials couldn't make mandates. Then that got generalized to elected school boards, and that's in debate right now as to whether that jurisdiction is too broad.
We also spoke with the board president, Jeff Koch, about what the board saw as issues.
The main elements that I saw that were of concern was they still referred to the Department of Health guidelines as what needs to be followed. And part of that ruling in Cole County was that should be the school board's guidelines, not some other non-elected entity.
Koch says they'd like to get the plan updated and revised.
I think one of the things that, at least what I heard a couple times from the board, is they wanted to return this power back to the families. If your family decides this is what's best for you, then we want to be able to support that.
In terms of the Attorney General's letter, Dr. Moss says she feels Joplin is ahead of the curve.
It's important to note that for Joplin, I think we've already been in compliance with what the Attorney General is asking because we haven't mandated masks and we haven't made students go home if they're a direct contact.
When it comes to revising the plan, Koch says it's a top priority for the board.
We don't want to rush to get something that's not right. So if it takes us until the beginning of January or a couple weeks in, or maybe even our January board meeting, we're going to get it right as opposed to get it fast.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The board did manage to pass one change to the plan regarding the visitor policy. The change will allow visitors back into the buildings just in time for the upcoming Christmas parties. The Omicron variant that's already been detected in Missouri is officially confirmed in Kansas. Kansas Department of Health and Environment announced today that a person in Franklin County in northeastern Kansas is infected with the variant. The person has not received a booster. The health department says no additional details will be released about the person to protect their privacy. Janet Stanek, the acting head of the department, says the detection of the variant comes as no surprise. Now, with this latest news, the variant has now been detected in both Kansas and Missouri, but not in our specific region. There have been no confirmed cases anywhere in Oklahoma. Yesterday's heavy winds and storms caused damage across the area. This is KOIM News drone video of a property near Carthage, Missouri. The winds picked up a metal building which got caught on an electric pole. The property owner says no one was hurt. Pittsburgh Fire Department recently responded to 2 incidences of carbon monoxide poisoning. They say part of the reason for the increase is more people using space heaters as temperatures drop. Freeman health officials say there are some symptoms to watch out for.
Typically, if they don't have a high enough concentration, they'll experience nausea, vomiting, headache, and these are such common symptoms that people will not attribute it to their environment, won't think about this being carbon monoxide.
Officials say it's also important to have a carbon monoxide monitor and replace the batteries regularly. Federal dollars will help improve the quality of drinking water and sewer systems in southeast Kansas. The city of Chautauqua is receiving a more than $2 million loan and a $300,000 grant to rehab its sewer system. It started the project in 2010, but areas that have not been repaired are dealing with rainwater infiltration that's causing sewage backup in residential properties. City of Neotech is getting roughly $1.5 million to improve its water distribution system. Neosho County Rural Water District Number 4 is getting a combination of grants and loans totaling more than $12.5 million. That money will be used to improve that district's water distribution center. Joplin Chamber of Commerce made a donation today that isn't seen often. They donated $1,000 to 9 area hospitals and organizations, including the Hope for You Breast Cancer Foundation. The reason this donation is special is because it's rare for the Chamber to be able to donate this much in December.
It's a wonderful feeling, especially I'm a breast cancer survivor and I want everyone to be a survivor, so I have a personal interest in this, and it's just a wonderful feeling because if we save just one life, it's worth everything we do.
All of the funds donated today were raised in October through breast cancer awareness fundraisers. Students at Park Elementary in Columbus, Kansas today were honored for their fundraising efforts. They raised more than $7,000 for St. Jude Children's Hospital. At an assembly, kids who raised money were awarded prizes as thanks for their efforts to support the project started by teacher Cindy Wells.
And I think the kids really enjoy it. I try and buy prizes that I think they will like, because I come and visit them at school now that I'm not here every day, and it just helps. It's all for a great cause. This year the kids raised $7,738.50.
In 14 years, Wells and her students have raised more than $100,000. National Guard members continue to assist those affected by devastating tornadoes as more bad weather hurts the search and recovery efforts. Reporter Mike Tobin has more from Mayfield, Kentucky.
More than 600 members of the National Guard have been dispatched across parts of Kentucky as cleanup picks up following last weekend's tornadoes. Here in Mayfield, Guardsmen are going door to door, conducting wellness checks in some of the heaviest damaged areas. Search and recovery efforts are also ongoing nearly a week after tornadoes left a trail of destruction across the state.
The level of devastation is significant, not just in the immediate term for those that are immediately impacted, but also for the long-term communities and the businesses here.
The National Guard will work with members of law enforcement to keep residents safe and to deter looting.
We're providing active patrols. We're providing a deterrence as far as a physical presence to discourage folks from going into looting any of these areas.
The devastating tornadoes left many families without presents for their children just days before Christmas. Dozens of organizations, including the United Way of Kentucky and the Red Cross, are asking for donations to help those affected get back on their feet.
Today we're here at Broadbent Arena in Louisville, our largest donation site and hub for mail and gifts. As you can see behind me, there has been a tremendous outpouring of love put into action here.
Thunderstorms are also expected to move through parts of the Midwest Thursday night, hindering tornado recovery efforts from Kentucky all the way down to Arkansas. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is scheduled to travel to his home state on Friday and visit some of the hardest hit areas. In Mayfield, Kentucky, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Lester Robbins served in the U.S. Army from 1965 to 67. The Anderson, Missouri native was stationed in Vietnam, received a Purple Heart, and we salute Corporal Lester Robbins, a four-state hero. Doug is next with a forecast that includes more rain chances ahead, and later, a pair of standout sisters in Seneca enjoy their one and only season playing on the same team. We'll have that story in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a much calmer day for us today, but temperatures quite a bit cooler across the region. We do have another storm system. It's a weak system, but it's going to roll in late tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. This is going to give us some showers. Most of the rain is going to be along and south of Interstate 44, but we are going to get some rain in here. Still watching for snow. We haven't had our first snow. We are watching a couple storm systems, one that comes in on Christmas and then one that comes in right before New Year's that will give us some better chances for snow. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, currently outside, here's a nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Zooming in, look at our temps today, significantly cooler than what we had yesterday when we set record highs. Only right around 50. Now we've dropped back near 40, upper 30s to near 40. I do think we're going to rise a little bit as we go through the overnight hours, so I do think we'll be back near 40 to 45 and during the morning hours. Winds are out of the east. They're going to kind of shift out of the south once again as we get into the overnight hours tonight. All right, 38 east northeasterly winds are light. Humidity is at 73%. We do have some clouds creeping in from the south, but still pretty much clear skies. But here's our weak little wave. You can see the moisture down through parts of Texas. So we're going to take this wave, we're going to combine it with this wave out across the northern plains, and that will produce some rain across the southern plains. Let's go through time during the overnight hours for us tonight. Clouds start to increase. This is late night, so after 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and then eventually by morning, we'll get a few light little tiny scattered showers. Not that big of a deal, but a few random showers by daybreak. Through the morning hours, mostly cloudy skies. Random sprinkle, random shower. So here's about the noon hour. As we go into the afternoon, it increases a little bit, especially along and south of Interstate 44. So here's your day planner. We're at our low now. We'll start to rise into the 40s by morning, 54 by noon, high temp right around 59 during the afternoon. All right, showers, a few scattered thunderstorms continue tomorrow evening, and then all this shifts out of here mainly after midnight tomorrow night. Saturday, we're going to have a lot of clouds during the morning hours, but then we'll get some sunshine, but temperatures really don't go anywhere. We'll only warm up right around 40 for an afternoon high. We go down into lower 20s by Sunday morning, so it will be significantly cooler even compared to where we are now by the time we head into the weekend. We're not going to get a lot of rain out of this. If you live in our northwestern counties, you may not see really anything, just a trace. And then once you get closer to Interstate 44, a quarter to a half an inch. Heavier amounts stay in our southern counties. Anderson, Pineville, Knoll, Cassville, they can pick up maybe a half an inch to an inch of rain. 59 tomorrow, 43 on Saturday, 46 by Sunday, back into the 50s next week. Dow?
Coming up, changes coming for members of the military.
The newly passed defense bill includes some major reforms for women and families in the military. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with a look at some of the changes.
5 children have died and 4 others are in critical condition after falling from a bouncy castle this morning that blew high into the sky in Australia. Students have been jumping on a bouncy castle when police say a sudden gust of wind lifted it more than 30 feet into the sky. Police are investigating. The $768 billion defense bill is headed to President Biden's desk for a signature after the Senate approved the annual measure yesterday. This year's bill includes provisions to help women and families in the military, including historic reforms to sexual assault investigations. Reporter Natalie Brand has a look at some of the key pieces of the newly passed legislation.
Sparked by high-profile cases including the murder of Fort Hood soldier Vanessa Guillon, this year's defense bill includes what lawmakers call historic reforms to how the military investigates and prosecutes sexual assault and other major crimes. It calls for independent investigators to replace commanders in deciding whether to press charges.
It's a huge step. It takes away a lot of the things that a few commanders abused in the past.
Retired Navy Captain Lori Manning of the Servicewomen's Action Network says advocates had hoped the changes would go even further.
We had hoped that commanders would no longer be the court-martial convening authority.
That's why some senators, including Kirsten Gillibrand and Joni Ernst, a veteran and sexual assault survivor herself, wanted even tougher reforms.
This bill does not reform the military justice system in a way that will truly help survivors get justice.
We still have a long ways to go.
The newly passed defense bill also includes a provision that allows members across the armed services to take up to 12 weeks of paid parental leave.
It applies to parents, not just mothers after giving birth. It applies to the fathers. It applies to same-sex couples that have children or adopt children.
And to address the issue of military hunger, the National Defense Authorization Act creates a basic needs allowance to help troops struggling to feed their families.
Most Americans don't know that if you are on the junior end of the pay scale and you're married with just one child, you qualify for SNAP benefits.
Senator Tammy Duckworth, a veteran herself, also fought for a provision to create an independent commission to study the 20-year war in Afghanistan and analyze mistakes made.
Among national security priorities, the defense bill calls for strategies to address threats from China and Russia. It also creates an office to study and respond to sightings of UFOs. Just ahead, rising concerns about inflation.
New polling shows troubling news for President Biden, as many Americans concerned about inflation say it's the president's economic policies making matters worse. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with more on that and the president's social spending proposal coming up.
The White House has a new plan to get more truck drivers on the road. It's an effort to address a shortage that some industry insiders say has grown to 80,000 unfilled jobs. Plan will earmark $30 million to expedite commercial driver's licenses. It also includes an effort by the Department of Labor to increase trucking apprentices and outreach to military veterans looking to enter the industry. The plan also establishes a joint initiative between the Departments of Labor and Transportation to recruit new drivers. New polling data shows a growing number of Americans are concerned about inflation. Comes as the president is still trying to get support for his climate and social spending proposal. Reporter Lauren Blanchard has more on how those plans may have to wait until next year.
Vice President Kamala Harris announced plans Thursday to replace every lead pipe in the country using funds from the bipartisan infrastructure law.
Lead exposure in our nation, we should all agree, is a national emergency.
Meanwhile, President Biden's handling of the economy seems to be going over like a lead balloon with the American public. A new Fox Business survey revealing 84% of those asked say they are extremely or very concerned about inflation, and nearly half think the Biden administration's policies are making inflation worse. The latest data coming as the president's Build Back Better proposal appears stalled in Congress.
I think Build Back Better is dead forever. Joe Manchin has said he's not going to vote for a bill that will add to the deficit. He doesn't want to vote for a bill that makes inflation worse.
And prices keep going up. Tuesday, the Labor Department said November's Producer Price Index rose 9.6%. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also last week announced inflation surged another 6.9%, now at a 39-year high.
The last time inflation was this high, I had an afro. That is a long time ago.
Still, Biden officials say they are hopeful relief is coming.
We believe in the child tax credit. We believe it's good policy. As you know, there's a negotiation underway about exactly how to get this and the other elements of the president's economic package through. I believe we will.
Without holdout Senator Joe Manchin on board with Build Back Better, Democrats simply do not have the votes to pass it and may need to punt the president's spending priorities to 2022. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Coming up, the Perseverance rover on Mars sends back a trove of new information about the red planet. The Perseverance rover landed on Mars just 10 months ago, but we're already learning more about the red planet, like lava once flowed at the side of an ancient lake. The bedrock that Perseverance has been driving over was formed by volcanic lava flows, and those rocks interacted with water multiple times. Some of them even include organic molecules. Perseverance has tools that can image and analyze these rocks. So far, the rover has collected 4 samples, plans to collect up to 37 more. They'll eventually be sent to Earth for further analysis. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Pittsburgh firefighters make the holidays a little brighter for some elementary students with a shopping spree.
Airline executives getting grilled on Capitol Hill on everything from recent flight cancellations to baggage fees. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington, and I've got that story and much more straight ahead.
It's the season of giving, so the Pittsburgh Fire Department teamed up with George Nettles Elementary to buy holiday gifts for students. Photojournalist Derek Knittig tagged along.
It was Christmas shopping with kids from a local elementary school. Each year the fire department takes local kids shopping, tries to help them, have a good Christmas and have a little something under the tree when they wake up on Christmas Day.
They're for like headphones. They're headphones. They're headphones, see? Where's your head, bud?
It's amazing each year just to see the looks on their faces and get to talk to them a little bit and share a little bit of Christmas spirit with them and let them know that they're going to have something, when they wake up on Christmas morning.
That's cool. This is cool.
We have multiple programs through the department, but this is one that we really focus in on local kids in elementary school to, try to foster good communication with them and let them know that, anytime they need help, there's a firefighter there that can help them and to help them understand that, we're there to help them, we're there to be a friend.
Pittsburgh firefighters contributed to the funds for the shopping trip. Your toy box donations are now in the hands of Santa's helpers at Pittsburgh Salvation Army, among many other places all around the four-state area. Staff from the Pittsburgh School District and the Pittsburgh area young professionals helped to receive the donations today. Curbside distribution began yesterday and goes through tomorrow at the Salvation Army in Pittsburgh. It's not just toy box toys. Students at Pitt State and the Pittsburgh area young professionals have been buying up bicycles for area kids.
Today is the third day of our annual Crawford County Christmas distribution, and so we are distributing toys and gifts to families in need, to adults who might have a little bit of extra help needed this Christmas.
Salvation Army serves 360 households. That's 725 smiles from kids in Crawford County alone. A Haitian gang today released the final 12 U.S. missionaries that had been held hostage. The release of the missionaries ends an ordeal that started in October when 18 Americans and 1 Canadian were kidnapped in Port-au-Prince, demanding a multi-million-dollar ransom. There's no word yet on whether a ransom was actually paid. McDonald's is clawing back millions from its former CEO, Steve Easterbrook. The company says Easterbrook returned $105 million in severance money after an investigation into his behavior and statements around his departure last year. The company says he lied and destroyed information tied to inappropriate relationships at work. From the friendly skies to the not-so-friendly Capitol Hill, executives from Delta, United, American, and Southwest testified before lawmakers. Republicans hit hard on vaccine mandates and recent flight cancellations, while Democrats demanded answers about the cost of baggage fees. Reporter Kevin Cork has more from Washington.
Airline executives testifying on Capitol Hill. Republicans wanting answers on vaccine mandates, as a federal appeals court just rejected a request to stop United from enforcing its mandate. United Executive CEO Scott Kirby says roughly 200 employees were fired for not getting the shot. A tough number to swallow as airlines recently canceled thousands of flights due to staff shortages.
We accepted about 80% of the religious requests.
The other 20% that you did not accept.
Democrats, meantime, hit on the rising cost of travel.
Does it really cost $150 to put a bag on a plane? Obviously, the answer is no.
Airline executives thanked lawmakers for their recent bailout, which they say saved about 85,000 pre-pandemic jobs, but warned inflation was already impacting their industry.
Fuels are highest, are most volatile, and most susceptible to inflation.
And the question many people want to know:
do you think be able to get on an airplane without masks?
Masks don't add much, if anything, in the air cabin environment.
The president of the Flight Attendant Union also asked Congress to do something about the rising number of brawls mid-flight. Senator Maria Cantwell, a Democrat, promising to work with the Department of Justice on that issue. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
The FDA is loosening some restrictions on where women can obtain abortion pills, including a long-standing requirement that the medication be picked up in person. Officials said today that a scientific review supports broadening access and allowing more pharmacies including mail order services to distribute the medication. But prescribing will still be limited to doctors who complete special certification, and the agency says dispensing pharmacies will have to be registered with the agency. A bit later, the pressure is on to send gifts on their way.
Christmas shipping deadlines are ending this week. I'm Casey Siegel in Dallas. We've got more coming up.
Well, it turned out to be a much calmer day for us today, but temperatures quite a bit cooler across the region. We do have another storm system. It's a weak system, but it's going to roll in late tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. This is going to give us some showers. Most of the rain is going to be along and south of Interstate 44, but we are going to get some rain in here. Still watching for snow. We haven't had our first snow. We are watching a couple storm systems, one that comes in on Christmas and then one that comes in right before New Year's that will give us some better chances for snow. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, currently outside, here's a nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Zooming in, look at our temps today, significantly cooler than what we had yesterday when we set record highs. Only right around 50. Now we've dropped back near 40, upper 30s to near 40. I do think we're going to rise a little bit as we go through the overnight hours, so I do think we'll be back near 40 to 45 and during the morning hours. Winds are out of the east. They're going to kind of shift out of the south once again as we get into the overnight hours tonight. All right, 38 east northeasterly winds are light. Humidity is at 73%. We do have some clouds creeping in from the south, but still pretty much clear skies. But here's our weak little wave. You can see the moisture down through parts of Texas. So we're going to take this wave, we're going to combine it with this wave out across the northern plains, and that will produce some rain across the southern plains. Let's go through time during the overnight hours for us tonight. Clouds start to increase. This is late night. So after 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and then eventually by morning, we'll get a few light little tiny scattered showers. Not that big of a deal, but a few random showers by daybreak. Through the morning hours, mostly cloudy skies. Random sprinkle, random shower. So here's about the noon hour. As we go into the afternoon, it increases a little bit, especially along and south of Interstate 44. So here's your day planner. We're at our low now. We'll start to rise into the 40s by morning, 54 by noon, high temp right around 59 during the afternoon. All right, showers, a few scattered thunderstorms continue tomorrow evening, and then all this shifts out of here mainly after midnight tomorrow night. Saturday, we're going to have a lot of clouds during the morning hours, but then we'll get some sunshine, but temperatures really don't go anywhere. We'll only warm up right around 40 for an afternoon high. We go down into lower 20s by Sunday morning, so it will be significantly cooler even compared to where we are now by the time we head into the weekend. We're not going to get a lot of rain out of this. If you live in our northwestern counties, you may not see really anything, just a trace. And then once you get closer to Interstate 44, a quarter to a half an inch. Heavier amounts stay in our southern counties. Anderson, Pineville, Knoll, Cassville, they can pick up maybe a half an inch to an inch of rain. 59 tomorrow, 43 on Saturday, 46 by Sunday, back into the 50s next week. Dow?
New study shows NFL players are 4 times more likely to die from amiotropic lateral sclerosis than the general public. The condition is also known as ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. The study further indicates the longer people played football, the more likely they were to get ALS. Researchers from Harvard and Boston universities evaluated all NFL athletes who played at least one game between 1960 and 2019. They say the results suggest a link between head trauma and the disease. Coming up in sports, a pair of sisters stand out on the basketball court for Seneca High School. Plus, the Missouri Southern women aim for their 7th straight win, this time against Central Missouri. We're going to have more on that coming up.
The Missouri Southern Lions are back on the floor tonight for a conference doubleheader against Central Missouri. And on the women's side, the Lions are one of the hottest teams in the league right now, winning 6 straight games. And tonight, put that winning streak on the line against one of the most consistent programs in the league. A hot start for Central. Olivia Nelson 3. Jenny start the game on an 8-0 run. But here comes Southern. Caitlin Honeycutt, bucket and the foul. Just a 1-point game after one. Second quarter, great pass from Lacey Stokes to Maddie Stokes. Lions briefly take the lead, but it's UCM by 1 at halftime. Third quarter, Mount Vernon stand up. Lacey Stokes, 3 from the far side. Then another Mount Vernon High School product, Cameron Call. Long ball from the other side. Southern goes up 3, heading to the fourth. In the fourth quarter, though, Naja Collier to Cade Hackerott. Jenny's really good late. Southern falls 68-64. Central outscores the Lions 17-6 in the final 5 minutes.
That's on my fault. I didn't do a good enough job of making sure we executed properly. Didn't do enough in practice to make sure we get in those situations that we make good decisions. So that's on me. And of course, give a lot of credit to Central Missouri. They're a good team. They're experienced. They're an Elite 8 team that their players made plays, and we didn't. But that's on me for not making sure we were ready for a late game situation like that against a very good team.
To the men's game now, Lions aiming for a 4-0 start to league play. Down 2 early, Christian Bundy hits the 3, but he got in foul trouble early. Central didn't miss a lot of shots, no kidding. They were hot early, made shots all over the floor. Mules actually go up 27-5, 8 minutes in. Other end, Lawson Jenkins did his best to keep Southern in it in the first half. He gets 8 in the first half. Ended up tying for a team high with 11 points, but Central Missouri rolled all night, taking down Southern 87-57. A pair of sisters in Seneca, Missouri get the chance to play high school basketball together this winter. And with one being a senior and one being a freshman, this year's the only time they'll get to be on the floor together. Danny Terzer has a story on how they're trying to make the most out of the few months they get to wear the same jersey.
You can hardly talk about Seneca girls basketball without mentioning the name Grotjohn.
They bring a lot of energy to the basketball team.
The two sisters share the court this season for the first and only time in their high school careers.
This is probably one of the funnest seasons I've ever had. We've got really close this year, and it just makes it more fun to play out on the court with her too. And we work really good together.
It's a lot of fun being able to win with her when it's my last season before I go off to college.
Senior Aaliyah and freshman Hazley provide a daunting 1-2 punch for the Indians.
One's more of a slasher. The other one, she kind of picks her time. But you know, they're very fun to watch, very fun to coach.
The Grotjohn sisters average a combined 43.5 points per game, and earlier this month, Aaliyah broke Seneca's single-game scoring record with 40 points.
It was a lot of fun being out there with the team, helping me get all my points, and they were all very excited for me. It's a fun experience to get my 40 points with them.
Aaliyah and Hazley share a special chemistry on the floor, and it makes sense. They've been playing side by side for many years.
We have a little basketball goal and stuff where we'd go outside and play. We've played a lot together.
And they work hard too.
They're always in the off season. They're always playing on different travel teams. They're always putting the time in the gym. They'll always give me a call and say, "Hey, can you open the gym?" That speaks volumes, to a coach. And I know both of them want to move on and go to the next level, and I believe both of them can do that.
In Seneca, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Seneca will be back on the floor tomorrow night with a home game against the Joplin Eagles. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
You've got to move fast to get your packages delivered on time for Christmas. Reporter Casey Stiegel has details.
The holiday shipping crunch is on. Friday is the last day to ship your packages and letters by first-class mail and have them arrive by Christmas. It is the busiest time of year for the U.S. Post Office, which has hired lots of extra seasonal workers to move a vast amount of parcels. UPS taking on 100,000 extra employees. For the shipping giant, along with FedEx, ground shipping is no longer an option to get your packages delivered in time for Christmas. That deadline was on Wednesday. Now you'll be paying premium prices for expedited and overnight shipping to get an item delivered by December 24th. Still, there are no guarantees even if you do meet the shipping deadlines. That is due to the supply chain crisis. Business owners like this nut farmer in California are having trouble even getting products out.
We are shipping right now less than half of what we should be shipping and could be shipping this time of the year. simply because there's not equipment available.
With online sales hitting records and backlogs at major shipping ports, experts say the systems are getting a major test. So the best advice, get your packages in sooner rather than later and check with individual retailers and the shipping carriers, as supplies and deliveries vary wildly by company. You can also call retailers to learn more about their shipping status and sign up for alerts so you can track your packages. The National Retail Federation predicts that 2021 holiday retail sales will reach an all-time record. That's the latest from Dallas. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
Coming up, the Independent Spirit Awards picks for the top movies of the year. That and more news out of Hollywood next. Film Independent reveals its picks for best films of the year, and the psychological drama Servant gets a final chapter. Reporter Ashley Dvorkin has the latest from the Hollywood Nation.
And right here, Mr. Shyamalan.
Shyamalan reaches a goal, Levine reimagines a hit, and more nominees announced in the Hollywood Nation.
Welcome to the Spirit Awards.
The 37th Annual Independent Spirit Awards revealed its 2022 class of nominees. Dark comedy Zola leads with 7 nominations, including Best Feature. The Novice, which picked up 5 nods total, is also competing for the Best Picture prize, as well as Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut, The Lost Daughter. Both The Lost Daughter and Wild Indian earned 4 nominations each. After going virtual due to COVID in 2021, the ceremony will make its in-person return and air live on IFC March 6th.
What more can I say?
Avril Lavigne is giving new life to one of her hit songs. The pop-punk singer is turning her 2002 single, Skater Boy, into a movie in honor of its 20th anniversary. The track is off her debut album, Let Go.
This is my family, and I will not let you take me away from them.
And Apple TV Plus has renewed its psychological thriller Servant for a 4th and final season. The series reaching its 4th season is a big achievement for executive producer M. Night Shyamalan, who told Twitter followers he set the goal to tell one story in 40 episodes, knowing there was no guarantee we would achieve it. Season 3 premieres January 21st.
This is my family.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Just a heads up, Fox 14 is undergoing some maintenance, and so tonight between midnight and 5 a.m. we'll go off the air. We're going to leave you with video of the Running Through the Lights event in Carthage. Let's make it a great tomorrow.